What's up, VC? This is Brad from H2Vinyl. I have been meaning to have this video out a whole lot sooner than planned, like maybe a week or two ago. And it's going to be this is a long video, as you started to watch this. 80 some minutes, yeah, it's probably going to be that, because I'm covering 3 months of music that I've purchased in April, May, and June. Because now it is the middle of July, and yeah, I don't think I'll be making these types of videos again. Just because I think a lot of it, I just know that it's just going to be just a lot of me talking in front of a camera for an hour, and then a lot of editing and everything. So I'm gonna try and make them in month chunks after this, but I have everything here. I have all the needle drops. I have like 19 needle drops, 20 some albums, like 25 albums. Plus then I had 2 meetups in the vinyl community in the last 3 months. Actually, the last month, in June, I met up with 3 vinyl community members. 2 of them I had not met in person before. We'll get into that later. And then, also went to 2 concerts as well. So I'm going to handle these chronologically of when I purchased them. So covering April, as I said, all of the record store day purchases are not mentioned in this. That was in a previous video. But that doesn't mean that I didn't buy more record day stuff after record store day. So why did I call it record day stuff? Anyway, RDS, RSD, RSDS, record store day stuff. There we go. Let's get into it. The first, around, I think it was April 6th, I live in Orlando, and I ventured out to Atlanta, which I'm trying to remember. It was like a 6.5, 7 hour drive. Went there for a concert. One of the groups that I enjoy collecting their stuff is Brigade. They do a video game, or a metal rendition of video game music, usually Nintendo games. So the Castlevania, Metroid, and Mega Man. Well, they were finishing up their tour for this metal version of the soundtrack for Mega Man 3, and they were finishing it up in their hometown. I guess you call Atlanta a hometown, home city, I guess. And so this was like my only thought of being able to see them. The concert was only 15 bucks. I had a whole bunch of mileage reimbursement from work, and so the entire vacation was paid from mileage from work. So just went out there, spent a night there in Atlanta, and hit up a few record shops. Trying to remember all of the names. One of them was Criminal Records. Didn't get a whole lot. I only got 1 record shopping. I think I was saving up for record store day because it was only like a week away. And let's see, so there was a 3rd shop I went to. I don't remember what that shop was, but the second shop that I went to was called Beat Lab. And Beat Lab was more of a DJ type store, so they had a lot of 12-inch singles. They had a lot of DJ equipment like Techniques and Newmark turntables, and then also crossfader mixers to transition between turntables, 2 turntables and a microphone. And Beat Lab was a place that I did get 1 record from. It was a 12-inch. I wasn't really into looking through 12-inch singles. They had a lot of R&B, they had a lot of hip hop, they had a lot of techno, and I chose techno. And this is, I didn't even know this existed. I have a few of those in this, this list. This is Daft Punk, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. I knew that existed, but this is the Dead Mouse edit. I like this. I guess, you know, Dead Mouse always has to be a little snarky. And he called this Dead Punk 01. This was released in 2007, so fairly early in Dead Mouse's career. And I love this, that down here, I don't know if it focuses, but it says myspace.com/deadmouse. Wonder if that still exists. I never had a MySpace account, so I don't know. Is MySpace used anymore? So this, like I said, 12-inch single. It's one-sided, so the other side is completely blank, which then helps me figure out whether my anti-skate is properly aligned. So yeah, I got that now. Yay! I'll be playing Needle Drop off of this. Again, this is originally by Daft Punk. Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. A very popular song. Kanye West did a remix with Daft Punk on this song as well. But this is the Dead Mouse edit, and here it is. So I said I went to Atlanta for a concert, and that was for Bit Brigade. They did an amazing job, by the way. Was able to talk with some of the band members afterwards. Yeah, it was kind of interesting how they did the Mega Man 3 soundtrack with metal. They played Mega Man in the background, or Mega Man 3 in the background, and so they were playing the game, they were playing the music for those levels and then boss battles, and some of it got a little repetitive, but that's just the way they do it, and it's a really well done game. Well, you're fighting the second game enemies, Mega Man 2 enemies in Mega Man 3 again, and so they harkened back to some of that Mega Man 2, which Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 are some of my favorite video game soundtracks. Unfortunately, I don't have a new album by them. They're actually recording their Mega Man 3 soundtrack rendition right now. Well, maybe not the second, but they said after they were done with the tour, they were going to start recording the album, so then they would release it on vinyl and CD. So I don't have that to show, but 3 members of Bit Brigade also were in another band for that night, and I didn't know this band. And this is Double Ferrari. I have shown this album before on ClarkoVision's 400 subs contest video. It has a horse theme on the front. The horse is either coming together or breaking down. I'm not really sure what's going on. Kind of looks like it's made out of clouds or some sort of putty material. Kind of weird. Anyway, this album was released in October of 2017. While it doesn't have a video game theme, they do, I mean, it's most of the members of Bit Brigade, and I would say that they do have a video game type sound. Like, this music could easily be digitized to a Nintendo or Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, whichever way you want to call it. And yeah, really, it would translate well to that music. I'm trying to remember. I played Warbringer. Well, yeah, okay. Warbringer of Impossible Mind Tetris was the track that I played on this. Quite a title. Anyway, this is Double Ferrari, their album Double Ferrari, and here is that track from this album. some more video game related music, and this was purchased 2 days before Record Store Day, so April 11th. I saw this on Anthony TGP's website or YouTube channel. Anthony TGP also used to be known as the Reginald Program, and he is one who really rips a lot of, he purchases a lot of video game soundtracks on vinyl and rips them to his YouTube channel. He's got his finger on the pulse of what is really coming out, and if you like video game soundtracks and you want them on vinyl, you need to check out his channel. That's Anthony TGP. I don't think there's a space. I think it's just Anthony TGP. Anyway, I saw this on his channel and I'm like, I've got to go to the website. And so I went to that website, found that it was no longer sold there, and I immediately went on eBay, found that it wasn't overly priced. I think I may have paid an extra $10 or $15 for it, but I picked it up, and this is the original Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation soundtrack. They did a reissue of the game for the GameCube in the 2001, 2002, something like that. But this is their 1998 game, Metal Gear Solid. I love the color, or the cover. You know, harkens back to Black Sabbath, Metal Gear Solid, and then instead of Ozzy here, it has Psycho Mantis, which is one of the bad guys and the bosses in the game. And then they also did a recreated original Warner Brothers, sorry, brain fart, long day today. Warner Brothers, it's put out by Moonshake Records, and so instead of WB there, it's MS. I thought it was Metal Solid, I don't know, but it makes sense now, Moonshake Records. This was released this year, March of 2019. So yeah, I may have purchased it in March, but it didn't arrive till April. And yeah, the Metal Gear soundtrack is incredible. It's an incredible video game. It's an incredible soundtrack. Hideo Kojima, the creator of even the original Metal Gear for the Nintendo and then MSX systems in Japan, just made the game even better for the PlayStation, and the soundtrack is a musical score for just about any great movie you would find. And I'll be playing the needle drop Discovery, which is fairly, it's like the second track on the first side. So Discovery from the Metal Gear soundtrack for the PlayStation. Here it is. Probably the most important event for April wasn't Record Store Day. It was the day before Record Store Day, and that was the Chemical Brothers released their 9th album. If you know me, I mean, you can look at right next to my channel name. It's the Chemical Brothers there. Chemical Brothers is one of my favorite groups, and it has become a tradition for me to purchase their albums on the day of release. And well, I haven't done that. I didn't do that for their debut, but their second album and every album afterward, that all the way up to the 9th one, I've gotten on the day of release. They almost snuck one by me. Their third album, I didn't know they were releasing an album, and I just so happened that I watched a music video of theirs on MTV. I'm like, I really like this song. What is this? And I saw that it was Chemical Brothers. I'm like, what? So I was pretty angry with them. I called them up and said, how dare you release an album without telling me? I did. No, I didn't. No. So moving into April 12th, which just the day after I received the Metal Gear Solid soundtrack, I got No Geography, which is Chemical Brothers' 9th album. I really love the artwork. The artwork. And, oh man, I remember Supro, Wes, who lives here in Florida as well. He enjoys electronic music a lot as well. Really liked he mentioned that this album art kind of reminded him of Kraftwerk's Autobahn. I can definitely see that, where it has the highways with a couple cars, driving each way, and then it just says Kraftwerk up on top. Yeah, and even oh wow, that's coming. Oh wait, no, that's coming off. That's awesome. The Kraftwerk's has a lot of blue sky as well. I don't know how many clouds. I think Chemical Brothers has a whole lot more clouds. The interesting thing about this, though, is not besides the tank at the bottom. The cloud actually forms kind of a face. So if you look, that is one eye, there's another eye, there are the two nostrils, and then the mouth. There is I don't know, it might be like an African warrior. I don't even know what it is, but their 7th album, which was the album Further, one of their songs, I forget which song it was, the video of that song had a face at the end of the song, and it said some things or whatnot. And so I'm curious if that has anything to do with it or whatnot. I don't know. But yeah, thought it was kind of interesting that it kind of looks like that face, but you really shouldn't put too much thought into these covers. I think they do a lot of this just for fun. So 9th album. Wasn't a big fan of their 8th album. Their 9th album, I think they harken back to some of their earlier work, which I appreciate a lot. But I felt like all of the songs were a little two-dimensional. They didn't have a whole lot of depth to them. One of the songs, I'll be doing a needle drop on this. I got to be careful because I've been finding out that a lot of Chemical Brothers work is being blocked by YouTube. Those lawyers, they don't realize that sharing a little bit of this stuff actually helps sell albums. They just don't understand that. But the song I'll be playing is We Gotta Try. Not obviously, but it is by far my favorite track on the album. And one thing that I love about the Chemical Brothers is that they cut loose and they just let it all, they just hammer you with sound. And every now and then they do that, but not so much on this album. I was really kind of disappointed in that. Their songs, like I said, just don't have a whole lot of depth on this album. But We Gotta Try has a lot of kind of that soul sound to it, but then at the same time they really cut loose. And so I'll be playing the portion of them cutting loose, and here it is. And then real quick, just because I'm nuts about the Chemical Brothers, is some honorary mentions. I did get the limited box set edition. Ordered this from the UK. And then I also ordered the Free Yourself single, which also has Ma or Mad as Hell, M-A-H, Mad as Hell. This single was limited to 1,200. And there we go. So that's that. Won't be playing either of those because I don't want this video blocked. Then, with Record Store Day happening, we're now the day after Record Store Day. Like I said, that Record Store Day material that I purchased that day is in another video. And I didn't do any needle drops in that video. Someday I will. Did I do I wrote all this stuff down because I forgot what needle drops I did. So the day after, I went to one of my favorite stores, the store that I hang out at the most, and that's Park Ave CD here in Orlando, Florida. Went with a friend, Adam, to check it out, see what they basically had left. And one thing that Park Ave, I've talked with the manager there, Tom, and he says, you know, we kind of pride ourselves to buy a lot. We try to buy more than any other store so that we're always known as the place that you can pick something up later, if it's available still. And so my friend Adam, who's a big blues and jazz guy, along with hip hop and rap and then some rock as well. He's kind of all over the place, and that's a good thing. He was looking at this album and was like, yeah, I think I might pick that up. I'm like, oh, I was kind of looking at that too, and they only had one copy of it. And he's like, well, it's the alternative takes. This is Charlie Parker with strings, alternative takes. He's like, it's the alternative takes. I know all of these, but just I know the original. And he's like, I know that this is really, really great stuff. He's like, I highly recommend it, though I haven't listened to it. And so he handed the album to me if I wanted to get it. If I didn't want to get it, obviously I got it. If I didn't want to get it, he was going to pick it up. So I picked it up. I don't remember if he picked anything up that day. He's been kind of laying low on vinyl of recent. It was an okay price. I mean, it was mid-20s. And I will be playing. I really, really enjoyed this. Charlie Parker, saxophone player, does. I don't know a whole lot about him yet, but really enjoyed digging into some of his work. And I'll be playing. What song do I play? I play "Everything Happens to Me," and here is that track. It's also on blue vinyl. So here is that track, "Everything Happens to Me" by Charlie Parker, and this is an alternative take. So we're still in April, and the following Tuesday after Record Store Day, I decided to go to another store. This other store is by the UCF campus. It's fairly new. I want to say I've been there once or twice, and the store's name is Smart Punk. They have a plain brown bag, but that's their logo. And Smart Punk is the name of it. I like established whenever underneath that. Like I said, it's a new store. Things are a little pricey there, but they have a good selection of used and new things. Well, I looked through their Record Store Day stuff and found some things that. This one I didn't even know was released on Record Store Day. And I'm trying to think, I don't know if this was released before on vinyl. And this is Greta Van Fleet. They're From the Fires, which is their, I'm trying to think, is this their EP? Or, no, this is their full-fledged album. 8 songs. I really enjoy Greta Van Fleet. I know there are some haters and there's some lovers of this group. I'm a lover of this group. I love the fact that they sound like Led Zeppelin. I love it. Some people hate them because of that, but I mean, to me, this is just some great sounding stuff. And I like Led Zeppelin. I like Greta Van Fleet. Released on black vinyl. Again, record store day release. And yeah, I'm trying to remember, what do I play? I play Talk on the Street, which is on the second side. Yep, third track on the second side. So here is Talk on the Street by Greta Van Fleet. There we go. Here it is. Another purchase that day at Smart Punk is another record store day release, and I saw this one in the vinyl community, didn't really know anything about it. Some people said that it was blues, and this is Dusky Truck Band, which is High and Mighty. Knew absolutely nothing about this band, and I've listened to this a couple of times now, and I'm not a big fan of it until you hit that live track on the back, Shame. That just sounds absolutely incredible. And yeah, really, really, really great stuff. This is their 2019, well, released April 2019 on Record Store Day. I don't know when this album was actually released. Oh well. Yeah, I'll be playing a little bit of that track, Shame, by Dusky Truck Band. Here it is. This is another pickup, Record Store Day pickup at Smart Punk on the same day. I have one more album. It's not Record Store Day, but one more album I purchased that Tuesday. And this was highly, highly, highly recommended to me by my friend Tim, DJ High Noon. They had at least one copy of it, and so I picked it up. And this is Otis Redding with Booker T and the MGs and the Marquis. And simply put, Tim said this was fire, and I saw it the Record Store Day and I put it back, and this is absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing, and completely agree with you, Tim. This is incredible. I would say that Otis Redding's side is stronger than the side A. But man, such a great album. Glad to have it. It's on red, black marble vinyl. And then the last album that I picked up on that Tuesday at Smart Punk is one that I've been waiting to get for a while. It's not a record store day release, but this is one that Brandon or Brendan, I'm sorry. Vinyl in my veins. You need it. I'm hoping to see some more videos from you, man. This is Malibu Ken, also known as Aesop Rock, and Tobacco. This cover art is a little insane, and the artwork for the label's a little disturbing as well. I didn't realize that I had Aesop like Aesop Fables, Aesop Rock in my collection. I have a couple of songs by him. He's worked with DJ Crush in the past. Really love DJ Crush, really like Aesop Rock's style, presentation of hip hop and lyrics. He kind of speaks in triplets, and almost kind of not stutters over his words, but staccatos through them. So kind of like this, you know, and it doesn't stutter, but he talks a little like this, and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very, a little monotone in his presentation as well. I really appreciate that. He is absolutely hilarious in this. The track, I'll be playing a track off this. I've got to keep it short because I do know that YouTube will ban it. Vinyl Rewind tried to play something on this album and had to re-upload his videos during a review of this album. But I'll be playing the song Tuesday. And what I loved about this track is the fact that he talks about plants, on how, you know, when when he tries to take care of them, they die on him. It's like a catastrophic failure. But then when he leaves them alone and you know, doesn't pay attention to them at all, it's a botanical epic. He's like, they grow like tremendous. He's like, so what's that say about me? So I'll be playing a little bit of that part. This is Tuesday by Aesop Rock and Tobacco, who formed the group Malibu Ken. And here it is.
I can't even keep a cactus alive when I'm present. When I'm gone, it's a groundbreaking botanical epic. From desolate to little shop of horrors in a second. It's weird knowing life thrives more when you exit. The trouble man cuddle with a duffel bag of loose cash.
The last album from April, and this was purchased overseas. Bought this in Australia. And it was off the Flightless Records website. And this is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This is album 44, 14th album. They have another one coming out, and I've ordered it. It's probably on its way whenever that's released. So, you know, they order like 4 or 5. You know, they release 4 or 5 albums a year. So here is their 14th. This is Fishin' for Fishies. Everybody, a lot of people know. I don't want to make the blanket statement of everybody knowing King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. But not as interesting album as some of their other works. I've only listened to it a couple of times. But I did play something from this. It's on, I'm trying to remember what the name of the vinyl, they always have vinyl names. The Fire Gobby edition. So I'm going to guess that this is Fiery Goblet. So they call it Gobby edition. And then, what song did I play? I think I played Boogeyman Sam. Did I? Nope. I played This Thing. This Thing is the track off of Fishin' for Fishies by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Here it is. Finally in May, and I only have one record purchase in May. I was very proud of myself. I was trying to catch up with the cost of what I spent on April. That was way extravagant. Because, I mean, you have, what's that, 8 or 9 albums that I purchased just in this video alone, but then I also went kind of crazy for Record Store Day. So, anyway. Beck Colors. This is one that I've wanted to pick up, and I kind of just sniped it off Amazon at a very low price. I used Camel. Learned about that from Frank at channel 33 RPM, and used it. This is the deluxe edition on red vinyl, 45 RPM on 180 gram vinyl. Won't be playing any of this. A lot of people know what Beck sounds like. A lot of people have heard this album, and I'm pretty certain that it will get blocked. So, Beck Colors is my one and only purchase for May. Moving into June purchases, and this is before the meetups that I had. I again went to Smart Punk out by UCF campus here in Orlando, and found all of these next 1, 2, 3, 4. These next 4, and this is an album that I saw. This next one is an album that I saw Alex Spins Vinyl when he visited in, was that February or March? It was February. He picked this up at one of the stores. I don't think I was with them at the time, but met with them a little later. And this is Jurassic 5, Power in Numbers. I had never heard this album. I heard the big hit, which is What's Golden. But so this isn't an album that necessarily stands out to me, but I'm really glad that I have it. I've listened to it a few times. I really like Quality Control a whole lot more. It's less produced than this. They really honed a lot of their skills, and even their beat making in this sounds a little more produced, a little more Hollywood. And I just kind of like the raw feeling of what the original Jurassic 5 was in their first album. But still great album. Again, the big banger on this was What's Golden. It was a big track in, was it 2001, 2002, somewhere around there. So next up is, I had been wanting to purchase this for a while and was going to just get it off Discogs because I figured it would be hard to find this locally. And this is Mad Villain's Fortet remixes. Fortet is a electronic artist that took MF Doom or Mad Villain tracks and remixed them, and fell in love with this listening to it on Spotify. I was trying to get more into MF Doom's work, and I remember seeing Mad Villain artwork everywhere back in 4 or 5 years ago, and so yeah, picked this up. Definitely picked this up. I played the song Great Day. So this is really only an EP. It only has 5 tracks on each side. That's granted, yeah, that's a good number of tracks, but side 1 has the vocal tracks, MF Doom raps over them, and then the other side is the Fortet instrumental background beats. So really you're only getting 5 tracks, but so it's technically an EP, but absolutely incredible. And I played the song Great Day off of this EP. Here it is.
When you holler at your seniors, dollar, you can overhear the hashish fiender. He just came from over there, the grass is greener. Last wish, I wish I had 2 more wishes, and I wish they fixed the door to the Matrix's mad glitches. Flip so many verses, sometime my jaw twitches. One thing this party could use is more booze. Put yourself in your own shoes and stay away from all the peers of busted things he don't use. He only keep them to decorate. If you want to peep him, select a date and bring a deep check like checkmate.
So still at Smart Punk on that day that I bought the last 2 albums mentioned, and this is a group that I love pretty much everything they do, and this is LCD Soundsystem. This is their 2nd album, which is Song of Silver. I think I'm only missing one LCD Soundsystem album now, and that is, I think, the 2010 album. I forget the name of it. This Is Happening, I think that's it. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for that. Man, I love LCD Soundsystem. Their sound, indie, got a little electronic in there. Sometimes they got a little psych, but not crazy guitar psych. It's more synth psych. What else? The lead singer, I forget the lead singer's name, gets the vibrato, where men, you sing higher register. He goes into that. I enjoy that. They do a really great job. They seem like they have fun, even when he's kind of singing in a monotone voice. They still sound like they're having fun doing the music that they do. What song do I play? I play Time to Get Away. Time to Get Away by LCD Soundsystem off their 2nd album, Sounds of Silver. And here it is.
And you make me sleep. I try and try, but you undermine me. And I start to be sensible. You know what I mean? And so it's time to get away. It's time to get away from you. I'm dying to get away. I'm dying.
So the last purchase of that day was something that I didn't know existed on vinyl. I had the CD back in the day. It was a single. It was a Dr. Dre single. And it was a Dr. Dre single which featured George Clinton and a extended version of one of my favorite Dr. Dre songs, and that is Let Me Ride. When I saw this, because I mean, I have tried to purchase this on CD. Oh, when was this? This was like maybe a decade ago. And I kid you not, this CD was going for like $120 10 years ago. And to find this on vinyl for like 10 bucks, yes, please. Let Me Ride, iconic song by Dr. Dre, one of the big hits off of his 1992 album, The Chronic, maybe 1993. I'm always off on years. But the version that he did of this song with George Clinton, by far the best work he has ever done, by far. And absolutely incredible song. I will be playing a portion of that song. I'm trying to keep the lyrics clean, so I'm going to do my best. It may just be instrumental, but I did grab a portion of that, and I think I did find a place where I would be able to do a needle drop. And here is Let Me Ride, the extended mix with George Clinton as well by Dr. Dre.
And hit 'em up with the pound, relax and sip upon the drink and smoke what everybody's saying. Hell yeah.
all of this brings us to June 16th, which I am happy to say I was able to meet up with a very good friend of mine, and that is Steve Carlson. He was here in Orlando on vacation, and Steve, man, you were here on, like I said, you were here on vacation, and you mentioned to me that us doing, crate digging together was a highlight of the vacation. Again, I'm sorry that Florida gave you such crummy weather. You couldn't go to the beach. You couldn't enjoy any of the parks. I would say that my entire June, the highlight of June was meeting up with you and getting to know you. We hit up one of our local Tex-Mex places, Tijuana Flats. Enjoyed that. I picked up, I think, 8 albums with you that day. We went to 3 record stores. We went to one of my favorites. I always have great things to say about these guys at Foundation. I kind of hung out with them a little when they were first, they started on selling records on their lawn, and now they have a store. They've been open for a couple of years now. We went there, and then we went to Remix Records, just a few miles away, and then we went to one of my favorites, Park Ave. Actually took a picture of our meetup there. Here is that picture. What an honor it was to meet up with you, Steve, and get to know you, a little one-on-one action there that day. Really looking forward to that. I'm hoping to get out your way soon. Soon being, a year or 2. But really, really awesome meeting up with you, hanging out with you. Let's dig into the vinyl. Some of the stuff was your recommendation, and some of the stuff was VCLT, and I thank you very much. I love it. So the first one, like I said, we were at Foundation, and I've seen this in the vinyl community. I've seen Andrew Tales from the Crate show this, and I didn't have any. And this is Blue Cheer, their debut album. Oh geez, I'm gonna butcher this. Vince Bus Eruptum. Vince Bus Eruptum. There we go. I don't practice this stuff beforehand. It is a repress, 1968 repress. So it's a second pressing on the Philips label. Great album. Had never heard this album before and really, really enjoyed it. Had a number of, like, Out of Focus was a big one for me. Dr. Please and Second Time Around. Really enjoyed those tracks. So there's one. And this is a big Chemical Brothers video because, I've just been thinking a lot of the Chemical Brothers lately, and always wanted to pick up this single, but they didn't sell it in the US, which means if I were to buy it, I have to buy it off Discogs, and it's probably not a US seller, which means I have to pay, $15, $20 for shipment. And I don't want to do that. But I found it local, and this is Go, off of their 8th studio album. Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest does lyrics on this song. By far the best song on that album. By far. Really, really great track. Glad to have this in the collection. And this was, I think, a 2015 release. Yeah, September 2015. Another Chemical Brothers release. Very, very, very excited to have this one. Didn't know this one existed. And this is, what would you call this? This is like a test press and so it comes with letters. And so this was handed out to DJs to play in clubs. And then they were, I think they said 40 of these were made. 50 of these were made, 40 of these test pressings were made so far. And then they had a letter that then said, hey, how'd this work in the club, and that kind of stuff. And then the album, which is a test pressing of Get Yourself High, which is a 2005 song of theirs featuring KOS, or better pronounced Chaos. KOS he's a Canadian hip-hop artist. There are two versions of this. There is the Vox, the switch relay, and then the dub. Yeah, switch relay on rub, switch relay on dub. Kind of difficult to know that. I think I gleaned that info from Discogs, but this is the vocal version, and then the other side as well. So I will be playing, I forget which side I play, but they changed up this remix. It isn't the original song. They changed up the remix, and they added some African beats to it as well. And so in kind of tradition with what Steve Carlson found some really great stuff at Foundation. This, by the way, these last two we found at the second store, which was Remix. And this, like I said, has kind of an African beat added to it. So this is kind of in memory. I'll always kind of remember what you were able to find there at Foundation, Steve, and kind of celebrate our hanging out together as well. Here is that portion of one of these tracks off of this test pressing.
Just dance for Alicia. Just get yourself high.
The last album that I purchased at Remix that day with Steve was a recommendation from Steve, and while I know of Brian Eno, don't have any of his albums in my collection, and this is Brian Eno and David Byrne's work, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. And when Steve mentioned this to me, he mentioned it by saying one of the tracks had a priest doing an exorcism, and they actually used recorded samples from that in the song, and that's what Brian Eno and David Byrne did in this album. They had several samples and used it as different songs and everything. I really liked the concept, and so I thought I'd give it a try. And really, Steve, I really enjoy this album. I'm trying to remember what I play. I think I played The Regiment, which is one of my favorite tracks on this. Brian Eno, he's ambient, experimental. This is more avant-garde, but then it also brings some funk in there as well. And Regiment, amazing track. This is his 1981 album, and I'm trying to think. I don't have where it stands in the lineup, but 1981 album, and here is Regiment by Brian Eno and David Byrne. So after Remix, we headed over to Park Ave CD, and I had mentioned to Steve that the goal for this year was to buy exclusively blues, and I haven't been doing that great of a job at that. And so I was really looking forward to buying blues at Park Ave. And so he gave out some help on that. One of these I didn't know. The other two I did. Actually, one I was planning on picking up, and the other one was a gift. I was not expecting that at all. I was planning on getting two, and I ended up receiving one, a third. This, I knew of the son of this artist, which is Cedric, and this is R.L. Burnside. This is his 1991 album, Ass. I always want to say an ass, Ass Pocket of Whiskey. Burnside is very raw. I didn't know Burnside at all. This is some of the songs are very abrupt. Listening to this, I remember my sister, my little girl, my little cat. She was sitting on the floor right in front of the speaker listening to it, and then there was just this shouting going on, but it was more like a ah noise. And like she looked at the speaker, and then after it was done, she looked at me and she's like, well, that was inappropriate. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why they did that. It was really kind of funny. But really enjoyed this album. What did I play? Did I play it? Yes, I played Shake 'Em On Down off this album. And I'll be definitely collecting more R.L. Burnside. Really enjoyed this. And so here is Shake 'Em On Down by Burnside. The next blues album is a classic, and this is definitely has been on my want list for a while. First time I saw it was on Andrew's Tales from the Crate. I think he has that in his top 100, pretty high up, meaning 20s or lower, lower numbered. And this is Howlin Wolf, his debut album, Moanin' in the Moonlight. And yeah, what an incredible work. I think that this was the first time I heard this one as well. I just knew I had to get it because everyone that I respect in the vinyl community loves this album. And yeah, went with it, bit the bullet. Steve said it's an amazing album. That's enough, So I am playing Smokestack Lightning. I don't understand where these words are coming from. Smokestack Lightning, and yeah, here is that song by Howlin Wolf. So this next blues album is a VCLT gift from Steve, and thank you again so much, Steve. I'm starting to lose my voice. I've literally been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. It may not be that long in the timeline, but I kid you not, I do several takes of these. I do needle drops so that I don't have to start from the beginning. Excuse me. So This artist, Junior Kimbrough, and the Soul Blue Boys. The album is Do the Rump. This is a repressing, a reissue. Originally 1997. I don't know if that's right. Print's awful small. It might be 67. And yeah, it didn't mark down when it was reissued, but it's limited to, I think, 500 on green marble vinyl, green and white and black marble vinyl. I mentioned that I had some Junior Kimbrough in my collection, but it's in a spot that people would normally not think that it would be. Junior Kimbrough, blues artist. Well, for Record Store Day, it was either 2015 or 2016, Daft Punk, electronic artist, did a remix or a reworking of some of Junior Kimbrough's stuff and made a 4 or 5 minute track, maybe 3-minute track into a 12 to 15, 20-minute epic. And really enjoyed the stuff. And so at some point I wanted to pick up some Junior Kimbrough. And we got to Steve and I got to the line, and I didn't know he had this in his hand. And when I saw him paying for it, I don't remember if I went first in line or he went first in line. I think he went first in line. And by the way, we had Park Ave does these Record Store Day coupons where they tore out for June, but like for May, you can buy one used CD and get one free. I didn't do that one. This month, July, you can get 10% off on all new and used vinyl, those kind of things. So the month of June was bring a friend and you both get 15% off the stuff you purchase. And so I think I went last because I was like, hey, I have this, but this is my friend. He's visiting from Orlando or visiting Orlando. And yeah, anyway, I mentioned, I saw this in the stack that he had and Steve had, and I was like, oh, you're getting the Junior Kimbrough. And he was very quiet about it. And I'm like, I didn't think anything of it, and I paid for my stuff. And there's one more thing that I get after this gift. And then I walk out of the line and he just hands it to me. And I'm just like, geez. So thanks again, Steve. What song do I play off this? I played I'm So Glad Trouble. Gosh, I do not. Yeah, I'm So Glad Trouble. It's a long. I'm so glad trouble don't last always. That's it. Okay. I really should read this stuff beforehand, but I hit record and just run. So here is I'm So Glad Trouble Don't Last Always by Junior Kimbrough. Last purchase that day with Steve was a box set that I had been saving for, and there's actually a coupon for box sets in that, but I didn't want this one to disappear because this is something that's been on my list for a long time, and this is Childish Gambino, Awaken My Love. I love this album. Childish Gambino is Danny Glover. He not the son of the actor. He is in the movie The Martian. He's the guy that thinks of the Star Trek move around the moon or the Earth. I don't remember. Using the gravity to slingshot them back to Mars quicker. Sorry if I gave any spoilers away. Great movie. If you haven't seen The Martian, amazing movie. This is an amazing album, getting back into the music. Great box set. It's four sides, 2 LP set. It has this weird virtual reality headset, and none of that stuff I care about. But if I was able to turn off the lights to the room, this blue is glow in the dark, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, great album. One thing I do wish, I wish the pressing was better. There's a lot of pops, a lot of clicks. It's pretty obvious that this was done by United record pressing in Nashville. Yeah, it's really evident, very evident. But I am going to attempt to play one of the songs off of this, and that is the first track, which is Me and Your Mama, I think. Yes, Me and Your Mama. And this is Childish Gambino, Me and Your Mama. I have one more album to talk about for the month of June, but I did want to mention a meetup. I didn't buy anything that day, but I did meet up with 2 really great guys. One I know very well, that's Ron Haggerty. He drove all the way from the Tampa Bay area to Orlando to come. I think he hit up the Florida Mall at first. He told me that they're like jalapeno or habanero M&Ms there. Like, what? I'm gonna have to check out that store. I didn't realize that the M&M store had a ton of different flavors like that. I'll try that stuff out. Anyway, he came for Scott Waters. Scott Waters was visiting with his family, all like 20 of them from New Mexico. Visiting the parks, I believe, and those kind of things. And I think they just arrived in Orlando that day, which was June 30th. And he and Ron and I met up at Crab Shack in Kissimmee over by the parks. I don't know. I asked Siri, hey, I want to go here on International Drive, and let's just go there, and I don't pay any attention to anything. But met up with them there, had a great time getting to know Scott Waters more, hanging out with Ron's family, hanging out with Scott Waters' family. And I kid you not, there were 16 at the Crab Shack, and I didn't even know there was still a Crab Shack open in Orlando. A lot of them have closed in Orlando. So that's even a plus there, because I love me some Crab Shack. Yeah, anyway, it was great meeting up with both of you guys. Scott, you're an awesome guy. Awesome to meet you. And Ron, yeah, you're awesome too. You know that. You know I love you. The last record that I have to show came on the last day of June, and this is an album that, again, Andrew Tales from the Crate told me about through his videos, and he mentioned it, and you know, I listened to it on Spotify. I'm like, oh geez, now I'm gonna have to look for that. And this was a while back. This is like maybe a year ago. Finally was able to find it. Found it actually locally at Smart Punk. I think on the last time that I visited, I was planning on getting it. I just couldn't justify spending $45 on it. $45 is a lot, guys, for this. But found it on Amazon for like $30. So I was able to do that. And this is Boris Pink, which is their 10th studio album. I don't know if that's right. Anyway, recorded in 2005. Little bit of post-punk, some doom metal in there, funeral doom, hard rock, thrash, and even some stoner rock in there too. Japanese band, Japanese metal band. There you go, Japanese metal band. This is a reissue, 2016 reissue on pink and clear splattered vinyl. Really glad to pick this one up. This is the deluxe version. There's two versions of this. This is the more expensive one. If I were to do this over again, I would probably get just the regular, because they said, ooh, there are versions of tracks that aren't even on the CD. And I kid you not, and I'll do 2 needle drops on this one. Part of this deluxe version reminded me of Dragon Ball Z. If you've seen the anime Dragon Ball Z, well, as the show was airing, they were waiting for people to write more of the manga, the comic series, so that they could follow the story of the comic series. Well, as people were progressing in the story of the show and the animated series got ahead of the manga. And so they had to have filler. So they used power-up sequences. Like there was one show where the main good guy, Goku, was powering up for the whole entire 27-minute show. And nothing really went on. And this felt like that. I kid you not. There's like literally 10 minutes of just static. This is what it sounds like. So that is my one complaint about this album. I could do without that. I really could. I would just rather skip to the next track or not have it there at all. But let's get into something more musical, because I really do like this album. I really like Boris. I have to be in a certain mood for this type of music. It's a little like Sleep. I need to be in the mood for that. I'm often in the mood for sleep. I love to sleep. Anyway, Boris, kind of the same way. I think of like Caius as well, though I could pretty much listen to Caius at any point in my life, any time. The other song that I play is Afterburner. Is that right? Yes, Afterburner. And here is that track, Afterburner, by, I almost said Pink. No, off of the album Pink by Boris. Everyone, thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. I kid you not, I am literally 86 minutes into recording on this. So I've been talking, redoing takes and everything, and I'm exhausted. I will probably not do a video like this, this length again. But thanks for watching till the end. Hope you enjoyed all of these. Again, Steve, Ron, Scott, so awesome to meet up with you. I hope that we can do that again. Maybe next time on your turf for all of you. Yeah, because Ron, it's been a while since I've been in the Tampa Bay area, and then I definitely want to visit you there, Scott and Steve. I had a great time hanging out with all of you. Everyone, hope you're doing well. Hope you're listening to great vinyl. Yeah, take care everyone, and we will talk to you next time.